Antigone summary in 10 minutes. This is a summary of Antigone, written by Sophocles. Yes, just a summary, plain and simple. Hi everyone, I'm Filip, the summary king, and here's the book summary in 10 minutes. I know, I have an accent, but give me some slack, I'm from Europe. More precisely, Croatia. I've made summaries of both Antigone and Oedipus the King. Check out the linked videos in the description below. Antigone is one of Sophocles' most famous Greek tragedies, written around 441 BCE. The story follows Antigone, the brave and stubborn daughter of Oedipus, who faces an impossible choice: obey the law of the land or honor the unwritten laws of the gods. Summary. So the story starts in Thebes. Antigone and her sister Ismene are standing outside the royal palace. They're both upset because their brothers, Eteocles and Polynices, have just killed each other in the battle. The two brothers were fighting for control of Thebes, and it ended with both of them dead. Eteocles was defending the city, while Polynices had attacked it. Now Creon, their uncle, has taken over as king of Thebes. Creon has made a new law that's causing a lot of drama. He says that Eteocles will get a proper burial, but Polynices, since he attacked the city, will not be buried at all. His body is to rot out in the open and animals can eat him. In their culture, not burying someone is a huge deal. It means their soul can never find peace. It's a terrible insult and a horrible fate. Antigone is furious when she hears this. She thinks both her brothers deserve a burial, no matter what they did. She believes gods want everyone to be buried, and their rules are way more important than anything a human king says. So she decides to bury Polynices herself, even if it means breaking Creon's law. But when she tells Ismene her plan, Ismene freaks out. She's scared of going against the king. Ismene tries to talk Antigone out of it, telling her they're just women and can't fight men. Ismene's the cautious type. She's not exactly the rebellious sister here. She's all about playing it safe, but of course that's not Antigone's style at all. She reminds Antigone that they've both lost so much already. Both their brothers are dead, and their family has suffered so much already. Don't forget, their father was Oedipus. He killed his father and married his mother. To say that they've suffered is an understatement. But Antigone is determined. She won't listen. She would rather die with honor than live in shame. So she sneaks off to bury her brother. The next day, Creon gathers the people of Thebes to give a big speech. He talks about how he's the new king and how important it is to follow the law. And he is the law. He believes that a good ruler has to show strength and punish anyone who disobeys. Creon explains the decision to leave Polynices unburied. He says that he was a traitor and he doesn't deserve to be honored. Now, Creon thinks he's being a smart and tough leader, but honestly, leaving someone unburied in ancient Greece, that's basically asking for a curse from the gods. Big mistake. Creon wants everyone to understand that no one can go against his orders and that traitors will be punished even in death. While Creon is giving this speech, a guard enters, looking really nervous. The guard has bad news and he knows Creon won't be happy. Someone has covered Polynices' body with dirt. In their culture, even a little bit of dirt counts as a burial. The guard doesn't know who did it, but he's terrified that Creon will blame him. Creon is furious. He can't believe someone would disobey his direct order. He starts accusing the guard of not doing his job and even suggests that maybe the guard took a bribe. Creon says he'll be punished if he doesn't find out who's responsible for the burial. The guard is terrified, so he promises to track down the person who did it. Later, the guard comes back and he caught the person responsible. It's Antigone. The guard explains that they caught her in the act of trying to bury Polynices again. She was performing more burial rites, like sprinkling wine over the dirt. But Antigone isn't your average hero. You just know she is not going to back down no matter what. She admits everything. Creon's jaw must have hit the floor when he found out it was his own niece breaking his own law. Talk about a family drama gone wrong. So Creon is completely shocked. He can't believe that Antigone, his own niece, would defy him like this. He's even more upset because Antigone doesn't seem the least bit sorry. She tells Creon that his law is wrong. She says that the laws of the gods are way more important than any laws made by humans, and the gods demand that everyone be buried, no matter what they've done. Creon is furious. His authority is being challenged and he can't afford to look weak. If he lets Antigone get away with this, people will think that they don't have to follow his orders. He decides that Antigone must be punished for breaking his law by death. At this point, Ismene is brought in. Creon accuses her of helping Antigone with the burial. At first she denies it, but then, in an act of solidarity with her sister, Ismene takes the blame. She wants to face the punishment with Antigone because they are family and she can't bear to let her sister suffer alone. But Antigone refuses to let Ismene share the blame. She says she acted alone and tells Ismene to stay out of it. Antigone is determined to take full responsibility for her actions, and she doesn't want anyone else to suffer because of what she did. Creon, however, doesn't care. He orders that both Antigone and his men be taken away and locked up. He is determined to follow through with his decision no matter the cost. Let's have a short break. While I sip some water, go ahead and drop a like and subscribe to support me. If I'm not gonna summarize all these books, who will? Break's over, let's continue. Here's where it gets interesting. Haemon, Creon's son, steps in. You'd think he'd have his dad's back, but no. He's totally team Antigone, and things get really heated. Haemon is engaged to Antigone, and he's in a really tough spot. He carefully begins to argue that maybe Creon should show some mercy. Haemon tells Creon that the people of Thebes are talking. They think that Antigone did the right thing by burying her brother, and they feel sorry for her. People believe Antigone's punishment is way too harsh, and they're starting to turn against Creon. Haemon tries to convince his father that a good leader listens to the people and can admit when he's wrong. But Creon doesn't take this well. He accuses Haemon of being weak and putting his love for a woman above his loyalty for his father. Creon thinks that if he shows mercy, it will make him look weak, and he refuses to back down. He tells Haemon that Antigone must die, and that's final. Haemon becomes furious. He tells Creon that if Antigone dies, then someone else will die too. This sounds like a threat, and Creon becomes even angrier. He thinks Haemon is turning against him and siding with Antigone. Haemon storms out, heartbroken and angry. So after the big argument with Haemon, Creon decides that instead of killing Antigone right away, he's going to lock her up in a cave. She'll be sealed inside, left with some food and water. Creon believes that if she dies in the cave, it's not really his fault, and maybe the gods won't be too mad at him. He thinks this way he can avoid looking weak, but still punish Antigone. Antigone is brought out, and she knows this is the end for her. She's sad, of course, because she's still so young and won't get to live a full life. She'll never get married, have kids, or experience any other things that most people do. But Antigone is hardcore. She's not begging for her life, not even a little. For her, this is about honor, and she's ready to die for it. She may have broken Creon's law, but in her mind, she was following the gods' rules, which were more important. As she's led away to the cave, Antigone compares herself to other tragic figures from Greek myths. She mentions how other women faced unfair punishments just like her. The chorus, made of the elders of Thebes, feels sorry for her. They talk about how sad her situation is, but no one steps in to stop it. They just watch as she's taken to her death. Antigone keeps her head up, saying she'll be reunited with her family in the afterlife. Creon doesn't care and orders the guards to seal her in the cave. Tiresias, the blind prophet, shows up, and you know when he speaks, you listen. But of course, Creon's too proud for that. Bad move, Creon. Really bad move. Gods are furious with Creon for not allowing Polynices to be buried. The gods have shown their anger by refusing to accept sacrifices from the people. Even the birds are acting strange, which in Greek mythology is always a bad sign. Tiresias says that this is a proof the gods are really mad. At first, Creon doesn't believe him. He thinks Tiresias is lying, or that someone paid him to say this. Creon, right out, accuses the prophet of trying to trick him. But Tiresias is not backing down. He warns Creon that if he doesn't fix this mess, something terrible will happen. Tiresias even predicts that Creon will lose someone from his own family. Creon is still stubborn, refusing to listen, but then the chorus steps in. The chorus reminds Creon that Tiresias has always been right in the past. They ask Creon to reconsider and to do what the prophet says before it's too late. Finally, Creon starts to worry. He doesn't want to admit that he was wrong, but he's scared of angering the gods any further. So he decides to fix things. He's going to free Antigone from the cave and give Polynices the proper burial he deserves. Creon hopes that this will calm the gods down and prevent any disaster from happening. Creon rushes to undo his mistakes, but it's too late. This is where the tragedy kicks into high gear. One death after the other. All because of his stubbornness. It's like watching a train wreck you can't look away from. As he's making his way to the cave, a messenger arrives with some terrible news. First, Creon's men went to bury Polynices. They followed all the proper burial rituals, hoping to make peace with the gods. After they finished the burial, they rushed to the cave to free Antigone, but it was too late. Antigone has already hanged herself inside the cave. She didn't want to starve to death. Haemon, Creon's son and Antigone's fiancé, was there too. He was devastated when he saw the Antigone was dead. Haemon was so heartbroken and angry that when Creon arrived, he tried to attack his father with his sword. Creon managed to dodge the attack, but the Haemon did something even worse. In his grief, Haemon turned the sword on himself and died right next to Antigone's body. Creon is absolutely crushed. He realizes that his stubbornness and pride led to the death of both Antigone Antigone and Haemon. Creon feels guilty and heartbroken, but the tragedy isn't over yet. When Creon's wife, Eurydice, hears of the news about Haemon, she's overwhelmed with grief and blames Creon for everything. She decides she can't take it anymore, quietly leaves, and the chorus grows worried about what she might do. Sure enough, the messenger soon comes back with more bad news. Eurydice has stabbed herself in despair. Before she died, she cursed Creon for causing all of this pain and tragedy. When Creon hears that his wife is dead, he is completely broken. Now Creon has lost both his son and his wife. In the end, Creon's left with nothing but regret. His power, his family, it all crumbles because he couldn't let go of his pride. It's the ultimate too little too late moment. Creon begs for someone to end his suffering, but the chorus tells him that death won't come that easily. He has to live with the consequences of his actions. Don't forget to follow, subscribe and like this video for more summaries. Until the next summary, bye!